Okay, so I'm going to sort of draw him like I would draw a person, and with, of course, his eyes are a little higher up on his head because his nose is a bit longer. But essentially, most animals have a skull, and the skull generally holds a brain of some kind. And then they would have this, because the wolf is a predator, the eyes will face forward. If this was a deer I was doing, then the eyes would be on the sides of its head, because that gives them 360 degree vision. So we want to make sure that they would want to make sure they could see on all sides. So now I'm looking at this and I think that the space here already. Now catch yourself early. This is really important when you're doing these drawings. Any drawing really is catch yourself early before you get too invested in what you're doing that it's not possible to fix. I think the space, I'm drawing him almost actual size to the photo. The space between his ears is bigger than what I've drawn here, so I'm going to fix that before I get too far, because I may have gotten his face, but I didn't get the ruff around his neck here. So I'll just lightly sketch in the ruff, and then I'll put his ears a little bit more out here. Ears are kind of lining up here with, you can see they line up with the eyes, these right here. So you always want to look for those kinds of triangulations to help get your drawing in proportion. I'm keeping it super light because I'm going to do the watercolor over it. Watercolor is a translucent medium. You don't want to have too much drawing on your, too many lines on your drawing. So I'm just going to put in the major features. And, you know, I always say don't ever draw with line. Try to draw with an edge. This might be an exception. You kind of want to have a little bit of a line. And that's it. Just a line. But keep it light for the watercolor. Now, if I was really brave and really good, I would just dive right in with the watercolor. But I'm not. I'm not that brave, I'm not that good, and I'm just going to do it like the safe way. In fact, I'm going to make his eyes a little bit wider apart. He's a handsome boy, isn't he? Well, I'm assuming it's a boy. It could be a girl, I suppose. I'm trying to get in the overlaps. If you can see, I don't know if you can see in the photo, but the eyelid kind of goes over, and then there's an under eyelid, and then there's the bottom of the eyelid. So I make the eye into two parts. Here's the eyelid that goes over, here's the eyelid that goes under, and then the eye itself is here, and the pupil is here. So it's going to be, this is going to be darkened. It'll be cool. It'll be cool, I assure you. I'm excited. This guy's going to look great. Okay. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Oh, dogs always look so happy, don't they? They're always smiling. Sort of like skulls. Always smiling. Okay, and that's going to be white, so I want to make sure that I don't have any pencil marks hanging out in the white areas. When you're working with watercolor, you have to go backwards. You have to go think of where the whites are and leave the whites there, and then work down the darks. Okay. Something is bubbling. If you guys could mute your microphones, unless you want to say something, that would be really helpful. Because there's all kinds of strange sounds. So there's my basic sketch. It's a little long in the nose, but I'm just not going to worry about that right now. And with my palette, as you can see, it's quite a mess. Very, very messy. This guy is, look at your colors and see what you think. Well, you guys tell me, what color do you think he is? I know it's a camera, you probably can't see it really well, but what colors do you think you would start with?
Do you want to start with
a light brown, maybe?
Shadow?
Whatever. Whatever colors you think are going to be in there. Yeah, there's going to be
a light brown, gray, a bluish tint, maybe.
Oh, okay, good. So
cerulean blue, ultramarine. There's some ochre in the browns with some burnt sienna.
Good. I don't think I'd use cerulean, but I probably would just go ahead and use ultramarine. Cerulean is a kind of a sky blue.
Cerulean's a sky blue, yeah. Those light grays on the back and the cheek on the left.
Yeah.
I would put the blues in there.
Yeah. I think I'll use a darker blue though. Good idea, but I'm going to use a darker blue. I have several blues on my palette already. As you can see. Like blue, 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 and I have lots of yellows already on here. Everything's dried out, but the nice thing about watercolor is it's very easy to reinvigorate. Little raw sienna. Hmm? Ochre. So all the basics, you need to have all the earth tones. It's a little bit of a reddish in there, so put in a little bit of burnt sienna, which is right here.
Or if you have paint spray, that would be, I think, useful.
Paint spray?
Payne's Gray.
Oh, Payne's Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
Probably
think,
right.
I don't think I have that in watercolor, although I do have it in oil. I use it in my oil paints a lot. And with my nice dirty palette, most of my other colors are going to be available to me. Lots of like muted greens in the background and stuff like that. So I'm going to add a little blue here.
I always thought you should wash your palette after you use it, so you don't mix too many colors like that.
Waste too much paint that way. I'm going to get this some water. Okay. So now we got water. You guys aren't going to see the palette very well because it's going to be kind of out of your view. Unless I put the wolf out of your view. I guess I could do that. But for now, the palette up here. So I get a little bit of water in the middle. See? And I could use a spray bottle. I don't have one. I didn't bring it in from the studio. And just, you know, dab a little water on the colors in there so that they get moistened up a little bit.
What brushes do you use?
I use a variety of cheap and expensive brushes. And I got these Rhapsody brushes, which are Kolinsky Sable, which are really nice, and I use them carefully. But I also have, and I have the Kolinsky brushes. This one is a Cotman brush. This is a makeup brush. I'm not sure why that's in there, but I use it. As long as it's watercolor based, it's all good, you know. Oh, did I put these in?
I guess.
Yeah. A little more brown here.
People that work miniatures use eyelashes.
Yeah.
You can pull an eyelash, a single hair brush.
That would not be me. I would not have the patience for that kind of thing. All right. If you don't
Brushes
stop
as
filming.
eyelashes?
Yeah, you can pull an eyelash pretty easily, make a single hair brush.
Yeah, but isn't it like too small?
Well, it depends on how small you're painting. You know, if you're painting miniatures, if you're painting the head of a pin, you're going to have pretty small.
It's a way to get extremely fine line.
All right. Enough procrastination. Let's get down to business here. Notice I don't have any white. I did not. And you don't have to go totally natural colors either. You can go a little bit unnatural if you want to. I think this is indigo. I like using indigo. As long as the surface is wet, you know, your colors will blend. And if you want to pull back on the color a little bit, you pull back like that. So that's left me with a pretty hard edge here, but I don't want a hard edge. I want it to be a soft edge, so I'm going to put some more water on that. There. A little bit of red. Now I do want there to be some. Alright, turn off your microphone. I do want there to be somewhat of a hard edge around the eyes because of the way the eyes go on the wolf. So I'll put that on, let that dry. So what I'm doing now is wet. It's called wet into wet, where you have the color on the pages. You've got a lot of water on there, and then you put in another kind of color, and it just kind of loosens, kind of blends in. And just trying to make a kind of a inspecific background. Now the ears are dry, so I can go around the ears.
Kind of curious how you're gonna make that ear stand out more from the background.
Contrast. turn off your microphone? Whoever's banging stuff around. So I am recording this. It's a little bit like how I paint in oils. I'll tend to put a little color down and then clean off my brush and move that around a little bit. I don't think it's a naturally traditional watercolor technique, but it's my way of painting, so there it is. It is what it is.
9.
I tend to do thin washes that way. Put the color down in the shadow and move it out to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to get some life now.
Getting there. Sometimes I forget to breathe. It can be a problem. I may start to get dizzy. Need a little red, because this tongue isn't quite pink enough. That's better. I'll let that dry a little bit. Okay, let's do his back.
Look, it looks like a tongue now.
It needed a little pink. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. No, still not dry enough.
Would it be a bad thing if you darkened the eyes?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The answer is no, it would not be a bad thing. You can actually lift paint out sometimes when you've got too much paint in there. It won't come white, but it can lighten it. Oh, Jesus. "10 years off my life." That's it. I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. So you don't want to overwork it. You know, if you overwork it, you ruin it. So.
Yeah.
I guess it only needs a few highlights, maybe?
You can't put highlights
in the body?
No, you can't put highlights.